Rick and Morty. What a show this is. It's got to be one of the best animated shows of the past decade, absolutely up there with my personal favourites, and has been one of the leading shows that has defined cartoons not only as just being for children, but instead sometimes for adults. It's a cultural zeitgeist by all definitions, and I can't believe that as much as I've scoured YouTube, I can't actually find any Rick and Morty icebergs. And so today, I'm going to plant my flagpole in the ground and give you what is, to my knowledge, the world's first Rick and Morty iceberg explained. Pocket Mortys. This is the top of the iceberg, and it's actually something I wasn't aware of, which is a bit not great. But if you, like me, didn't know what Pocket Mortys were, it's an app on your phone which is basically like the Rick and Morty equivalent of classic mainline Pokemon games. You collect Schmeckles, train Mortys, and win badges. I don't really know if there's too much else to say. It actually doesn't look too bad, so I've gone and downloaded it on my own phone. It actually looks quite entertaining. Even so, we're still at the top of the iceberg, so let's move on down. After credit scenes. Yes, so Rick and Morty has taken a page out of Marvel's playbook and throughout the show have included some after credit scenes that really do add a little bit to the show. Some of my personal favourites have to include Mr. PoopyButthole going through rehab and Summer's friend watching Jerry be a beekeeper. They kind of just are little skits at the end of the episode, and sometimes they kind of do bridge between episodes. If you haven't seen any of them, just keep on watching after the credits, and it's just like a short kind of 30-second little joke thing, yeah. All episodes are pop culture titles, if you didn't know. There isn't a complete list that I can find online, but just going through my own pop culture knowledge, I can kind of give you a few nods to various other shows and movies and kind of pop culture. M. Night Shyamalan's is a nod to director M. Night Shyamalan. Raising Zorpazorp, I believe, is referencing Raising Arizona. Something Wicked This Way Comes, obviously, is Something Wicked This Way Comes. Morty Night Run is Midnight Run, and The Wedding Squanchers is referring to Wedding Crashers. The sponsored ads of Rick and Morty. Although animation has had a bit of a rough history with advertisements, Flintstones, I'm looking at you, due to the complete creative possibilities that Rick and Morty has at its fingertips, all these kind of ads just do fit, and they're all really funny. They're kind of the same joke every time, and it's less of an ad and more of just a promotion, kind of Rick and Morty vouching for a brand such as Sony or Carl's Jr. But yeah, they are in the spirit of the show, so they are quite fun to watch. The non-canonical adventures. If you've seen all of Rick and Morty and are looking for some more content, I'd have to recommend these to you if you haven't already seen them. Essentially, the non-canonical adventures is a series of short Rick and Morty scenes made with claymation and written and directed by Lead Hardcastle, who actually has a YouTube channel that I found during my research. They're also mostly kind of horror movie related and ran from 2016 until 2017. There hasn't been one since. Morty's Mind Blowers replaced Interdimensional Cable. Well, kind of yes, as we haven't seen Interdimensional Cable since Season 2. And in the Morty's Mind Blowers episode back in Season 3, Rick kind of breaks the fourth wall and said that they'd be doing that instead of Interdimensional Cable. I would make the point that this is down to the show's creator Dan Harmon, who doesn't like recycling same ideas over again. Obviously, the Interdimensional Cable episodes are two of the most creative episodes that the show has to offer, and I mean personally, I could watch as many Interdimensional Cables as they want to put out. But Dan Harmon, just like his protagonists, always want to be moving forward, giving out new content rather than falling back on beloved classics, which is very fair. Gravity Falls Easter eggs. Yeah, I mean, this one is quite well known, but I'll cover it anyways. So the creator of Gravity Falls, Alex Hirsch, is good friends with Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland, and throughout Rick and Morty, there are several nods thrown over to Gravity Falls, the most well-known of which is the notebook, mug, and pen that fall out of Rick's portal in Season 1, but other references include Bill Cipher and Dipper's hat. Community references. As far as I'm aware, there's only one, but for all of those that are unaware, creator of Rick and Morty, Dan Harmon, was also the showrunner for the show Community for most of the show's run, aside from Season 4, also known as the Gas Leak Year. It's one of the most underrated sitcoms of all time in my opinion, and at least the first 3 seasons are just fantastic. But anyways, the only thing I can say about it is that it's referenced in the episode Autoerotic Assimilation, joking at the show's targeting of Britta's character and how it often got cancelled and renewed, and cancelled and renewed. In the garage, just for a few frames, you can see a portrait of Doofus Rick, a nice little callback to a previous episode. A few people have seen this and have asked why Rick would keep a portrait of Doofus Rick. Well, the answer is that he didn't, instead it's Jerry's picture, due to the fact that Jerry and Doofus Rick obviously got on. The garage is Jerry's technically, and only Rick's when he changes it up. This is also evidenced by the fact that there is a model Titanic and a jar of apples from his Hungry for Apples campaign. It seems as though Jerry stores his mementos in that cupboard in the garage. Okay, so do you know what a vanity card is? Probably not, but maybe you do. Basically, it's a production logo at the end of a TV show. One famous example is Fremulon, and well, Dan Harmon's is called Harmonious Claptrap. They've changed throughout the seasons of Rick and Morty, and some people think that it's Dan Harmon trying to tell us where he is in his life, with some seasons almost being quite dark, but the most recent season being much more at peace. Another small callback to an episode, but Mr. Meeseeks can be seen in the background of Blitz and Chips in the episode Morty Night Run, before Morty plays Roy. I don't think there's too much else to say about it. I found out that in the Japanese dub, Mr. Meeseeks is voiced by a woman. But yeah, I don't think there's really too much else to say, just a nice little Easter egg, so let's move on. Needful Things is a creepy thrift shop run by the devilish Mr. Lucius Needful in the episode Something Wicked This Way Comes. It's a parody of the titular shop from the horror novel Needful Things by Stephen King, along with Mr. Needful as a parody of the demonic proprietor Leland Gaunt. This is something that Dan Harmon and his shows kind of do. They love referencing pop culture, something that he's a fan of, parodying and giving nods. Needful Things is no different. In 2006, Justin Roiland created The Real Animated Adventures of Doc and Marty in an attempt to get a cease and desist letter. Apparently Justin Roiland was just blowing off steam, trying to be as crude and over the line as possible. Doc and Marty are the characters that would eventually go on to become Rick and Morty in just under a decade, when Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon teamed up to pitch their idea of a TV show to Adult Swim. We have another really small Easter egg here, but while Rick blames Summer for bringing in the parasites in Total Recall, it was actually Rick. He can be seen collecting some green rocks at the end of Morty Night Run, and one of these rocks happens to have a small little pink thing attached. This was the initial parasite Uncle Steve. So yeah, that's actually how the parasites came into the Smith house, as if I needed another reason to love Total Recall. To me, that has to be the best episode of the show, but yeah, it was Rick that brought in the parasites. Moving on, we have the pilot was made to spite Bill Cosby. I didn't want to touch on this during the Real Animated Adventures of Doc and Marty, but the reason why Justin Roiland was trying to get a cease and desist letter was because he got one from Bill Cosby's lawyers after Justin Roiland and Ava Gaith made the show House of Cosbys, which was only able to make 4 episodes before it got cancelled because Bill Cosby didn't want the show to air. The premise was that Bill Cosby got cloned, and each clone was more messed up than the last. A few of the Cosbys included Tattletale Cosby, Dancing Cosby, and Butt Naked Cosby. Give me a second, I have to watch this show, it sounds fantastic. Wubba lubba dub dub. One of the show's most iconic lines. When it's first introduced, we think that it's just a zany catchphrase, but it's later revealed to mean that Rick is in great pain in bird person's language. Justin Roiland said in regards to the origins of the catchphrase that, quote, "We were making fun of the concept of cheesy catchphrases. It wasn't in the script. Instead, it was intended to be a Three Stooges homage. Like Curly's famous indescribable sound, like the whoop 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 whoop. Originally, Rick was meant to have dropped to the ground and do the Three Stooges curly spin at the end, which I would have loved to see, but even still, what we got has become what Rick and Morty would call kind of like an anti-catchphrase, even though it technically is still a catchphrase. So now in the Hall of Catchphrases, we have "Did I do that?" and then "Bazinga," and now "Wubba lub dub dub." Terry Folds made the charts. Okay, I traditionally, if you know me in real life, I hate the charts, but Chaos and Justin Roiland's song made it into the charts, and I can completely get down with that. I'm going to play a little bit of this now, just so you can hear what the song's about.
Grab my Terry Fold flaps, grab my flappy folds, grab my Terry Folds, grab my foldy flaps.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 minutes of just that, and I love it. I'm not even gonna lie, I think the beat is unironically good. So remember back to sponsored ads. Well, Rick and Morty did an Old Spice advert a little while back. And while it does indeed have the beloved Plumbus in it, it more notably has the Buster robot, you know, the one from Something Wicked This Way Comes. The cans of deodorant grab it out of Morty's drawers, throw it around, and while Morty tries to grab it from them, one of them eventually eats it. BUSHWORLD Adventures is an 11-minute episode that aired unannounced on Adult Swim on April 1st, 2018, 1 year after the surprise premiere of the 3rd season of Rick and Morty. As part of Adult Swim's annual April Fool's prank, it was written and directed by Michael Cusack, who's done a few YouTube videos that I've kind of looked at, and I quite like him actually, they're very good. The episode features a different animation and art style from usual, and it's heavily themed around Australian humour. The episode is a lot more crass than even usual Rick and Morty episodes, but having said that, the episode as a whole is still very much in the spirit of Rick and Morty, and I very much like it. Before the events of the show, Rick, Birdperson and Squanchy formed a band called The Flesh Curtains, with Birdperson on vocals, Rick on guitar and Squanchy on drums. They seem to have been very popular, touring Earth, Birdworld, Planet Squanch, Buttworld and Doopy-Doo, among others. The band is never actually mentioned out loud in the show, but Birdperson keeps a photograph of the group on his wall, as seen in the episode Get Swifty. Gazorpazorp Field is Rick and Morty's parody of Garfield, shown in the Interdimensional Cable episode fusing Garfield and Gazorpazorp. Now, I'm not 100% what the origins is referring to. If it's referencing how they came up with the idea, I wouldn't know that. But from what I found, it seems as though the background of the character Gazorpazorp Field is that he hates Manum days because his mum died on a Manum day. Interdimensional Cable 3 doesn't exist. I guess it's technically Morty's Mind Blowers, as we kind of discussed that before. I wasn't able to find that. However, a post from Justin Roiland's Instagram said IDC3, which is obviously Interdimensional Cable 3, it was made 108 weeks ago, so just over 2 years now. So perhaps he was just trolling, or perhaps at another point they were making an interdimensional cable and it just got scrapped. And finally, the Truth Tortoise reversed. At the start of Morty's Mind Blowers, Rick and Morty can be seen running away with some alien with the Truth Tortoise that apparently can provide knowledge of everything. Morty looks into its eyes and it speaks to Morty, and while at first it just kind of sounds like it's spouting gibberish, if you reverse the audio, the tortoise actually says, "I'm a beetle, Paul is dead," referring to the ludicrous conspiracy theory that Paul McCartney is dead. Absolute drivel of a theory, and I think that Rick and Morty were just trying to jab a bit of fun at it. Anyways, that's it from me. I want to sincerely thank you for getting to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of the community. Aside from that, I have a Discord, so link in the description. Follow me on Twitter and send iceberg requests to foxakimbo@gmail.com. Please let me know what you want to see me do next, because I'm only 24 videos in and I'm already out of ideas. Thank you for watching.